Black Cat Lounge is sponsored by Paranormal Oddities, the little store with the big heart. Dragonfly, Art and Soul. Paraniagara, where the real ghosts of Lockport hang out. Wild Raven Candles for those magical times. Queen of Tarts, Metaphysical and Bake Shop. Hey everybody, this is Tim Shaw. Welcome back to the Black Cat Lounge, where the elite meet. Where else? Next to the dumpster transfer station, just down yonder. That's the way it works. Because why? Not because our guests belong in the transfer station. It's just because of all the stuff that's in my basement. Sometimes Mrs. Shaw thinks that it should be in a transfer station, but that's neither here nor there. I want to thank everybody that came out last week Friday for my buddy Frank Kupka and mine. We did a combo talk at Paranormal Oddities. We were talking about haunted prisons, and I've been working on a new book, and one of the chapters I'm working on is one about a case where a Ouija board was involved, and Seneca Native American magic was involved. So it's really a neat thing that happened. So thank you for all coming out. Hey, I got to thank everybody for all the well wishes. Last week, Tuesday, I had to go in for surgery, and I have to let everybody know that everything came out well. It better than well. Let's put it that way. So, I was very, very pleased with it. I know everybody was concerned because it's my second surgery in a few months, but for exactly two different things. So two different things, just to let you guys know, and let you know that the cornea transplant that I had in December is still working fine. Everything's great. That's why I'm wearing these Funkadelic glasses. With these glasses, I feel like they're so big that I should have X-ray vision is what they are. So, if I do take this off, I do have a big S on my t-shirt. Actually it's TS, and it doesn't stand for Tim Shaw. It's tough something, so we won't go into that. But today we do have, really, I am so thrilled, I am so honored that they came on the show. I've known this gentleman actually through accident for a few years, and he was driving with our good friend Dustin Perry, and they hit a deer. Actually, Dustin thinks it's a reindeer, but it was just a regular whitetail that hangs out there. And they got stuck here in Buffalo, and we all went out and had dinner. And I wanted to, and I met him, and I just thought Cody's probably one of the nicest guys that I've really met in a long time. Then I found out we have a mutual interest, which is really great. And our interest is not a common interest, as you guys probably know by now. So and this young lady, I have to tell you that I met her. We've talked, but I met her for the very first time at the Michigan Paracon up at Sault Ste. Marie, Michigan last August. Sweetest little thing I've ever met. Except I wouldn't want her to get mad at me, because she looks like she has that temperament where she could probably just like whoop my ass and smile the whole way. And that's what I love about her. But she's so wonderful. And, I want everybody to welcome to the show, the Paranormal Couple. And I have to say that I have so much from the bottom of my heart. And you guys know I don't blow smoke up anybody's ass. But I mean, I really, from the bottom of my heart, I'm so thrilled that they're on tonight. And I'm going to come right out and say, to me, they are the future of the paranormal. So please welcome the Paranormal Couple, Cody Baines, and oh my God, and the amazing Satori Hawes. Guys, how are you? Thank you so much for being on tonight. I mean every minute of it, because you guys, Cody, when I first met you, you were hanging out with Dustin. So I thought, well, you're kind of okay. You know, you're sort of okay. And when I found out that you were into haunted objects, I was just blown away. And we always knew about Satori, and and I knew that her dad Jay, he tried his best to have her locked in the basement and then go to a nunnery. He wanted her to he was going to put her in the nunnery, get away from all this crazy paranormal stuff, and it didn't work.
No.
And one day, the handsome Cody was walking by. I think he had gym shorts on, but I don't even want to paint that picture. But and Satori saw him and said, "He's for me." So that's the one. I will get a Delaware speaking woman and say she will be the one. No, I'm sorry. I just lost myself there. Hey guys, how are you doing tonight?
Good.
We're great.
Yeah,
you're doing good.
Hey, where else can you get an introduction like that?
It's fabulous.
No, you missed your calling as a sideshow barker. That's for sure.
Well, you know what? I'm telling you right now. I had an interesting conversation with somebody. Oh, Stephen Intermill from the Buckland Museum of Witchcraft and Magic in Cleveland, and we were talking about past lives. And he said he had a dream where he was a barker in a sideshow. I said, "Really?" I said, "Because I'm kind of the same way." And he looked at me. He goes, "Well, it was either a barker in a sideshow, or the two of us were Baptist ministers, and we were baptizing people in the river." And I went, "Oh, yeah, maybe it could be. Stranger things have happened." So, what are you guys up to? What I have to say. Well, let me just ask a couple of questions before I start commenting, because I just like wax poetically on you two. When you guys met, did you guys think that it was gonna be wrapped around the paranormal as much as your relationship is, or did you guys just want to be like normal people and kind of walk around and say, "Hey, Cody, listen, I'm a princess. You should be taking me a X, Y, and Z. You should be taking me here and there." So did you guys in the beginning, did you guys think that you guys would be so intricate in this field?
Well, yeah, I was already into the field.
Oh, I was already in the field. Yeah.
So I knew that I had to find someone that was into it, because I didn't want to be with somebody that would be like, "No, I don't want you going out tonight," or whatever. So I think I found the right person. That's what I can conclude.
I guess he did, because I was born into the field. So I guess that's as close as you're gonna get.
I mean, honest to God, it was so funny when I forget. I think it was Dustin said that the two of you were just kind of, and this was way when you guys first started going out, and I'm like, really, and I'm thinking, oh, this can't be good. This is either going to be one of those relationships that everybody's going to be so loving and lock in, or it's going to be it's going to explode. It's going to implode, and that's going to be the end of it. And it's like the two of you are, you guys are almost like soulmates, and I don't use soulmates very often, and I really think that that's a wonderful thing. And Satori, the other thing I gotta ask you now, here's something we've been kicking around up here is traditions.
Mm-hmm.
Were you always into the metaphysical world like your whole life, or is this just something that, listen, Dad talks to dead people, is this just something that that you kind of grew up with, or is it something that really that you were attracted to since you were a little kid?
Well, the paranormal as a business definitely was something that, since it was in my family for so long, it was something that I guess naturally I was drawn to. I did kind of see Dad and was like, I want to do that. I always believed in the paranormal. My family thinks that since I was never told it wasn't real, that maybe that's why I was kind of more in tune with the paranormal, or was more interested in looking for the paranormal and the metaphysical. But definitely becoming as spiritual as I am, I guess you would say. I don't know. I think
Hmm.
I dived into it a little later. As I got older, I was like, maybe I'm not going to go as far as, the way my dad went exactly, where he's trying to, find the answers as much, use the tech as much, things like that. I'm kind of taking a different approach where I'm using the senses and the feelings and, my spiritual side of things. Would
Yeah.
you say?
Oh yeah. Well, ever since I've known you, you've definitely been into, collecting crystals and rocks and cards and all that
I'm
stuff.
glad
So
you used crystals for once instead of just saying rocks.
yeah. So we definitely balance each other off. She's into that stuff.
Well, Satori, I'm going to come right. I'll admit something, and I mean, a little bit about my background. I called them rocks for years. I never used them. Never used them. Like this is garbage. And then all of a sudden one day it was like, oh, maybe not. This is kind of neat.
That
This
was
is neat.
it. Yes. Yes.
Hey, now, Satori, excuse us, Cody. We got things to talk about.
Yeah.
Satori, now, you are a reader, and I've seen you read. Have you taken training? Because I'm going to come right out and say it. So many people suck at reading. I'm not, and I'm listen. You know what? I'm an instructor. I'm going to throw it right out there. I was going to try to be politically correct and say, well, they're not the best. Maybe if they went and polished a little bit more, but no, they're not good at it. When I've seen you read, it was like I saw all of a sudden it's like you're using these cards and you're like, bah, 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 and you have a rapid fire delivery, which is really so good. And a lot of people can't do the cards and do a rapid fire delivery. And I'm watching you go and you're throwing these cards down and I'm going, okay, wait a minute. That's not what that means. But yet I can understand where you're picking this stuff up from. So now it's sort of like, it sort of becomes the whole package. Did you have training in that? Or is that just something that has developed naturally in you?
I've never had training to read cards. I thank you very much for your compliment.
Satori, I'm just going to tell you what, I hate you. I hate you because I've had all these. You're one of those people that just comes out of nowhere and goes, boom, and everybody goes, really? How did that happen? It's great.
I love what you said when you said, because you were watching it and you were like, that's not necessarily what the card means, but I see where you're picking it up from. Because the way that I read cards is, you get anywhere between 50 to 72 cards in a deck. And so
Right.
you're getting almost like very open-ended, or like a series of meanings within a card. But really, when I'm reading cards, I'm trying to feel out what those, even if it's not directly what the card is saying, I'm taking what I'm feeling and what the card is saying and kind of creating a meaning from it. So it's I like how
Perfect.
you said that, because so many people just try to read the cards as is and just say this is exactly what it means, when there's so much to it. That I like how you said that. So thank you for saying that.
Well, it's true because being it, what, everybody doesn't believe it because I've written books and I've done other stuff, but I'm very dyslexic, very, very dyslexic. And for me to sit down and read a book, the little booklet, and I'll sit there, I can't remember any of that stuff. I don't have a clue. And, I went and I took a class with the late Raymond Buckland, and he was a genius. The guy was just a genius. And he said to me, he goes, I'm going to show you how to read the cards. And I'm going, come on, Ray, I can't remember the greater arcana, the lesser arcana. I swords and all this other stuff. I can't do it. He goes, watch this. He pulled out a card. He says, what's the first thing you see?
Mm-hmm.
And I go, but right there. And he goes, okay, what does it mean? And boom, after that, I could read cards.
Yep.
And it's a natural ability. And I think that that's probably one of the greatest things that I learned from him. But with you, to witness, I'll throw it out at you. Don't be mad at me. The pablum that comes out of your mouth as you're reading it and you're working it, I can feel the force of that energy. And I know that you're hitting it because as a longtime mediums just yourself, when people talk and that the reader has lost it, they're not even close. But when you're on, and you're one of those people that I forget what show it was, and you were one of the shows that you guys were doing, one of your own shows, and I just sat there and went, God, she's got it. The girl has got it. The woman has got this. So kudos to you. That is just so great.
Oh, thank you so much. You usually just look at me and you're like, whatever that means.
Yeah, no, I take the cards very literally when I read them. If the death card comes out, I'm like, shit, you're gonna die.
Oh.
That's why I don't let him read cards for people, because he's gonna tell them that they're all dying or something.
Oh my God. Oh my God. Cody, forget it, Cody. Forget it. But see, but you know what's so neat is you guys compliment yourself, because to me, you guys are like the Donnie and Marie Osmond. Now I'm showing my age, the Donnie and Marie Osmond of the paranormal, because it's like their big thing was, one is a little country and the other one's a little rock and roll. Satori is very metaphysical. She's very spiritual. She's really hardcore in that side. And Cody, I gotta say that on your side, you're much more analytical. You are like so much into that experience and show me and let's try the X, Y, and Z in order to go and bring something forward. Now, see, I'm gonna pick. See, the last couple times you've been on, I've been nice to you. Now I'm gonna really pick on you guys a little bit. No, I'm not. I love you guys. But Cody, when you first start, when did you first start getting into this? Because when I met you a few years ago, you were still rather young.
Yeah.
And, not to say that you're not young now, but I'm just going to say that, you were younger then. And I thought to myself, wow, this kid's got it, and I remember even saying to Dustin, I said, Dust, I said, your buddy Cody, man, he's on point when it comes to the science of it. When did you get involved in it, and why the hell did you get involved in it?
It was about 12 years ago, believe it or not. And I had an experience when I was younger, when I was around 8, and ever since then I was, hooked on trying to figure out what the heck I saw. And then I found out that, people did this as a group, and they would go into people's houses and try to help people. And then I, found out that TAPS was based in the next state over. I grew up in Massachusetts, found out TAPS was in Rhode Island. And of course, like everyone else that was into the paranormal at the height of ghost hunters, wanted to join TAPS. And I had, sent them emails, and I was only like 15 or 16. And, I just wanted to get, hands-on experience with some equipment and things like that. And I ended up getting a response back that, no, we're not looking for anybody. So I ended up joining another local group out of Massachusetts, and it was tough finding a team that would take on, a 16-year-old at that time, because rightfully so, I could understand why, a team wouldn't. But again, I just wanted to, hold the equipment in my hand and just get a feel for how a team investigates. And finally, I found one team in Massachusetts who was willing to, show me, what's going on with the equipment and take me out. And I spent a few years with them. They ended up breaking up, joined another group in Rhode Island, and it's weird how doors open when you least expect them to.
Mm-hmm.
The first case I went on with that new group, Rise Up, I still work with them to this day. Satori does as well. The first case that they took me on, there was this other, woman on the team that night that I had never seen before. I knew everybody that was on the team, and we got paired up together because we were like the two oddballs out of the group that night. I was a new person on the team, and she was somebody that wasn't part of the team but was out there for some reason. I wasn't asking questions. We got paired up, and we started investigating, and she happened to really like the way I investigated that night, and she happened to be the case manager for the TAPS home team. And she says, I really like the way you work. I would love to talk to Satori's dad and see if we can bring you on the team. And I said, wait a minute. So you guys said no to me, but I didn't say that till years later. And that's how that worked out. That's how I ended up joining TAPS. And I was always a very technical, based investigator. Like you were saying, I love to try different methods and just try to find new ways of doing things. And then when I met Satori, again, I was never into the metaphysical side of things that much. I honestly did not put much faith into psychics and mediums at that time. I just wasn't my thing. It just wasn't my thing. I was very technical based and data based. And then when I met Satori, she kind of opened, that whole new side of things up. And I started experiencing a whole different side of the paranormal that I hadn't experienced before, which was really neat. And that kind of shift started happening a bit, where my mind started opening up to new ideas and new ways to do things other than technology. Maybe get equipment that works on its own and record its own findings, and let's break off and try some metaphysical approaches, some of the old school approaches, and see what we get from that. And that's been working for us now.
Now I gotta come right out and ask you guys, as on Ghost Hunters, and you guys are featured on there quite a bit.
Mhm.
I have to say that I love the fact that you guys bring with you that, and you just brought it up, sort of an old methodology.
Mhm.
And I love the fact that you'll see modern ghost hunters go, okay, give me a couple knocks. Okay, it could be anything. I'll be honest with you. I'm not impressed with modern ghost hunters, like, might get a knock or whatever. But I have to say that you guys, well, let me just finish that thought. When you guys work together, you can tell the difference. You can tell that difference between just a regular knock and something that has emotion and power behind it. Let's talk about what you guys do. Explain the method that you guys use, because that method to me reminds me of early seance, where it wasn't the Victorian formality of it. I love the fact that you guys don't do that. Yet you guys are using that same mindset, that same feeling, that force of emotion in order to cross that barrier. So let's just talk about that a little bit, because I know a lot of people are fascinated. I know I'm fascinated by it.
So we found out, this was actually the first day we met, we found out some weird things were happening. In 2018, the first case I went on, while we were investigating, I remember Cody and I were joking about something, and I brushed up against his shoulder, I grabbed it, we were just laughing, and then all of a sudden it sounded like an explosion of footsteps everywhere, like boom, 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 like everywhere. And that caught everybody's attention. We just thought, oh my gosh, this must be a really active location. The more and more we were investigating that night, we were asking, can you give us so many? And we were getting exact answers. 1 for yes, 2 for no, exact answers. It was just too good to be true. And we thought maybe the location was just the holy grail of paranormal investigating. Cody likes to nickname it. But then we realized when we went to other locations, the same thing would happen when we were in a room together. It actually took, I believe, a couple people on the home team, the TAPS home team, to say, wait, do you think it could be you guys making this happen? Because it's happening everywhere you guys are.
Right.
And so we were like, okay, let's try some things. So, for example, we'd stand close to each other. Nothing would really happen. We'd ask questions separately. Nothing would happen. But when we, like, for example, like I held his arm or his hand, it just sounded like the sound got really loud and very intelligent. So we kept working with it. And I remember we stayed up for 24 hours one night just asking questions like, if we go through the alphabet, can you knock on the letters? And we did this, and the first thing we ever spelled out was, how is this possible? Like, they were just as confused as we were, which we had to tell them we don't really know, we're still working on it. And I guess 2021, we really realized we should start telling people about it and get opinions on how to maybe make it amplify more.
Yeah, no, yeah. I thought, me, I thought somebody was punking it. I thought somebody was hiding in the closet, trying to pull one over on us. It was happening when it started happening at more than one location. If you've investigated, a good amount of locations, you know that paranormal activity is rare. And when something seems too good to be true, then most likely it's not. And so, I started looking everywhere. I had Satori looking everywhere. I finally convinced her that somebody probably was, pulling our leg, and we couldn't find any explanation. And then we went outside and tried doing it. And when you started hearing responses outside, that took it to a different level, because there's no way somebody's hiding under the ground and knocking on a tree or something like that that's right next to us. Or it's weird to explain. I mean, it's very hard to explain when you're not there, but sometimes it sounds like these noises are just coming from thin air, and you can't pinpoint it, which is weird.
But the energy works like electricity, we found. So, for example, we can set somebody between us and we'll hold both of their hands on each side and it'll still work, like pass through them like an electricity current. So we're trying to figure out what this energy is and how this energy is working. And if we focus on it, sometimes it'll get louder as well, if we really focus on it.
Yeah, of course. And then, after we keep doing this, I'm like, geez, like I mentioned before, I when I got started in this, I was very technical based and I didn't really, believe in this side of paranormal, communication. And everyone on the teams that I work with both Rise Up and Taps, both knew that. And at least for the people with Taps, they were experiencing it for themselves. So we didn't really have to explain it to them, and they would investigate, and try to figure out how it was working. But for the other teams that I work with and the other people I work with, it was a little more difficult. And I would talk to Satori and I'd be like, they're going to think we're nuts. And so we kept it quiet for a while. And just would, experiment with it and try to communicate and try to get answers. And then either us or ourselves would do research to try to back up the answers we were getting. And then finally, we showed some people, which happened to be the best, decision, was to show some people that were close to us and let them, just say, listen, we'll show you. You try figuring out what this is because we can't figure it out. And that really opened up a good can of worms for us, at least, to keep working with us more.
To me, it's fascinating because of the fact, excuse me, the way I was brought up. We didn't have, our portable recorders were big reel-to-reel jobs, when I first started, and we didn't use any of that stuff. So when we went out in the spirit rescue circles, that's exactly what we would do. And we would try to go and figure out the sound. And let me ask you this. I'll just say that when true spirit comes through and makes a sound, it's different. It's got a different frequency. It's got a different vibration than just like, okay, somebody knocking on the wood or door or whatever. Do you feel that it's because the two of you mesh so well that you guys one and I will come right out and say, now you guys know about seance, right? Do you guys know about batteries and all that?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
The human battery.
Yeah.
You guys act just that way. And I remember the first time you guys did it on TV, because why? Because I watched Taps or Ghost Hunters because I'm a big fan, hint, hint. No, but what I thought was so cool was the fact that you guys actually did that, which takes a lot of balls because it's tough and it's intimate. I feel that it's so intimate between the two of you, but you did it. And when you guys just held each other's hands or your arms, and I always remember even the recording on TV, the audio on TV had a different sound to it. And I went, wow. So Satori, do you feel that I would say you are the true medium, you are the leader of what's going on? And would you say that Cody is more of the battery, is more of like the person that grounds it out and really kind of puts that effort, that frequency out there in order for spirit to be able to be as loud as it is?
To be completely honest, I'm not sure. I think we both play a role. I think ever since he's more opened up to the spiritual side of things, I think the medium in him has definitely amplified a lot. Like he's found some things that really work for him.
I love this
because I mean, you do very much ground, but the energy, like you'll feel pain in your legs if we do it too long. So it's almost like the energy current is coming through your legs.
Correct.
My head'll hurt after a while. So it's like it's going to my head. So somehow it's moving. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. I think, Tim could very well be correct that, you've always been in tuned in this side of things. You know what I mean? So that's definitely, one theory that could be possible. We've talked to other people like Zaphis says that we're tapping into psychokinetic energy somehow.
That's exactly it. If you're looking for a name, that's the name that I would use for it. It's out there. It's all around us, but only a few of us can go, and I shouldn't say a few of us, but only only a certain few who are open to it can actually use it. You know, I've witnessed some amazing things, and when you start looking and you start seeing a medium produce ectoplasm like a mask over the face, and it changes and all that, you're like, how is he doing that? But that's exactly how he's doing it. They got a battery, and the battery is harnessing that. That to me is amazing. Do you ever have this problem at home when you are okay, Satori, you're sitting down, you're doing your thing, and we know that Cody's loves to go and do dishes or go and do the laundry. Do you ever get anything like that in your own, you're in your own living space? Do you ever get like sort of just by accident, all of a sudden, like you'll get the raps, or you'll get like, some kind of vibe?
Well, at first it wasn't happening by accident. We were definitely when we first figured out that this was something to experiment in a little more. We definitely every chance we got, we were trying to do this, and it was happening at home. And we found that there's really one area of the house that it really works in for some reason. Maybe that area, I don't know, maybe that area land wise is more energized.
Could be, yeah.
We found that corners, for some reason, in all locations that we go to, seem to, if there's footsteps, they'll emanate from corners most of the time. For some reason, why? That's just something that we've noticed. We have no idea why. But staying at home and places where we're not really investigating, we've kind of learned that to kind of like
you have to tell them,
shut it off and make it known that we're not doing this right now.
You also have to tell them, because we'll be out in public, for example, we'll be at the movie theater or we'll be at the grocery store, and all of a sudden it starts happening because you're in a location where somebody might have family that's just checking in on them, or somebody's association, and it's just, you have to be like, okay, we're not doing this. We're not going to tell someone their grandfather's in, the cereal aisle at the grocery store. Like, we're not going to do that. So we have to kind of put our foot down a lot.
Exactly. And you have to work with the boundaries. Otherwise spirit will like have you run ragged. Frank's got a question. Is there a certain experiment you're doing when you hold hands, or just trying to harness that energy?
We're not really we're not trying to necessarily do anything.
Yeah, I mean, it's weird. I mean, when I do it, I'm definitely focusing in on I don't know, I don't really know what to say. I'm not focusing on anything particular, but just focusing in on the moment, I guess, is a good way to put it. I always like looking up towards the air or down.
I look down a lot.
It seems, it's definitely amazing when it happens, and it seems like there could be some formula to some ceremony that we're doing beforehand, but really there's not. I mean, it's just,
we're just asking very nicely.
To be honest, I have no idea. And we've been telling people, we just did an event last weekend that was really cool. It was one of my favorite events that we've done. We did it virtual. We signed in virtually, and the whole event was based on kind of like old school techniques, scrying and
awesome.
Pendulums, and they had us come and talk about this method or ability or whatever you want to call it. It was great because you opened these regular investigators to using probably or possibly finding something within them to use in this field that they weren't paying attention to. And we were telling people, like, try using, if you came with somebody, try using that person and come together, because two heads are always better than one. So try coming together and using that energy. And it was so refreshing to do an event that was much different than the normal cookie cutter events.
I love those. I think that you guys are really doing a great service to the paranormal field by doing that, because people watch TV. Let's face it, there's a format with reality TV. Guys watch reality TV because they got neat devices and beautiful women. Women are on there watching these great guys, and they're like intellectuals, and it's kind of just trickles down. But it's the same old format. They're picking up a recorder, they're picking the device up when people don't need that, and you guys have like harkened back almost, I won't say to the golden age, which is like, the 1880s, but I'll say that you guys harken back to that beautiful age of the early 1900s, where people were really starting to, evolve and create their own, and I'll just, for a lack of a better term, ritual. in order to go and do that two-way communication. And I think that's phenomenal. And Tracy Murphy's in the house, and Tracy Murphy she is the director of Palmyra. And we were just, Tracy, believe it or not, we were just talking about how wonderful Palmyra is, the Phelps store, and your museum in Palmyra is. So just so I always try to push it. I love that place. Anyway, Tracy asks, do you feel like by working together, your gift has gotten stronger? That is a great question.
That is a great question, and it's very nice to meet you.
Yeah. I would say since we've found out that, this was, an avenue to explore, over the years, we've found that the communication has gotten easier, and less draining, I would say, than when we first started. When we first started, there would be answers sporadically, and now it definitely seems to be more connected now. And like I said, before I met Satori, this really wasn't an avenue I explored. And we've tried bringing in other people. Satori's tried working with somebody else to see if it can happen. I've tried working with other people to see if it happened. And it seems to only work when Satori and I are together for some reason. So that's what we kept doing. And we find that over time, it gradually either the connection gets stronger or the battery's getting stronger.
We've had full conversations now. Instead of just yes or no questions, we're getting recipes from the 1800s from a spirit that loved to have Christmas dinner. Like
that's beautiful.
Finding things that nobody would be able to find. So it's really
beautiful.
Cool. It's
cool. That is beautiful. That's absolutely beautiful, because that is what it's all about. People don't get that. It's like you don't go. You want that kind of communication. I don't want somebody to go, "Are you here?" I guess you're here. Okay. Give me something I can use. Give me some. That is like something that harkens back to those golden ages. And I love the fact that you guys have actually just it's a resurgence with you, and it came naturally. And I think when it comes organically like that, I think it becomes stronger. And I think that by you guys keeping on using that traditional mentality to do that, I believe you two are getting stronger. I don't want to take all the time, because I'm like a little kid in the candy store with you guys, because you guys always have the neatest toys. You guys have the neatest stuff. What do you have to show to the viewers today? Because ladies and gentlemen, just let you guys know, Cody and I trade things every so often. And you don't know how excited I get when I get a package in from Cody going, and it's like, I'll sit there like a little kid and I'll wait. So I can't stand it anymore, so I can unbox it. But, because he always sends me neat stuff. What do you got for us today?
So for people that don't know, we have a museum of haunted or believed haunted or active items.
Yeah.
That's
and
right there.
Yeah. And we kind of cherry pick some new stuff that we've gotten in recent months. Because we always like, showing some cool stuff and sharing some stories. So everything we get is donated from individuals who have a story. And that's really what I love about everything, is that, everything has a story, no matter if there's something attached to it or not. And that's what we like sharing. So we grabbed some items that were a little different than the usual, haunted type of items, like dolls and things like that. So the first one that we got is a more recent one. And this is a good example on how not everything can be bad or demonic. And let me tell you the story on what happened with this, and you'll understand what I mean. So this came from Alabama, a single mother of 2 children. And she's at home one day trying to do some last minute chores before the kids get off the bus. And she's running around. She's really stressed out. And, she has to make them an after school snack. She has to take care of their pet dog that they have. So she's running around trying to get all this done. And in walks her mother, the kid's grandmother, who only lived about 30 minutes away. So it wasn't unusual for her to drop in from time to time. But what made this visit unusual was that it was a Wednesday. And the reason why that's a little unusual for this family was that the grandmother would go to church twice a week. She'd go every Wednesday to do her rosary beads, and every Sunday to attend regular church service. So for her to walk in on a Wednesday was really strange, because she should have been at church. And that was the first thing that the daughter said. She says, "Mom, how come you're not at church today?" And the grandmother held up her rosary bead and said, I've been going to church twice a week for years now. I'm sure God's not going to get mad if I miss one day. I have a headache today. I'm not going. So they had a laugh, and she says, well, since you're here, you can help me out. I'm trying to get things done, trying to make the kids a snack, trying to take care of the dog. And the grandmother says, you know what? I'll take care of the dog. I'll feed the dog and let it out. You worry about the kids' snack, and we'll get it done together. So they agree, and they start having a conversation. A few minutes go by, and the daughter hears the school bus coming up the street. So she says, Mom, I'll be right back. I'm going to go get the kids off the bus. And she says, all right. So she walks to the end of the driveway. Kids get off the bus. They get really excited because they find out grandma's home at their house visiting. And they start walking back, and the daughter's cell phone rings. And she answers it. And on the other end of the line is her sister. She's really frantic, saying, I've been trying to call you for the past hour. It's been a busy signal who you've been on the phone with. I've been trying to reach you. And she says, I haven't been on the phone with anybody. It's been in my pocket. It hasn't rang. Is everything okay? And what her sister told her really freaked her out. I think it would freak anybody out. She said, well, I'm sorry to tell you this way, but we found Mom had passed away in her sleep last night.
Wow.
So right away, she drops her phone and runs back into the house, into the kitchen where she just had this whole conversation with her, and finds that the dog has now been let outside. The dog bowl is now filled with food, and the mother's rosary beads are now sitting on the counter. Impossible, right? Shouldn't be something that is possible on our reality as we know it, on our plane. So how'd the rosary beads transport from one home to another that's 30 minutes away, which is really strange. So we got this beautiful letter, and I talked to her for a while. Of course, we didn't get to visit this location in person, but she wanted to donate the rosary beads to the museum to share that story, and hopefully let others know that maybe their loved ones are a little closer than what they think. Now, since we've had these rosary beads in a crisis apparition, correct? Yep. So since we've had these rosary beads in the museum, we have a whole religious section for many different religions, and we found that when people view these items, these religious artifacts, they all feel this warmth feeling, this feeling that of validation for what they believe in. So it's not anything bad that's around these things. We don't believe the grandmother's spirit. I mean, she could be around them visiting once in a while, but we don't believe any spirits are trapped in these items. But they just project that energy, that all those intentions that have been put into these items over the years kind of gets broadcasted out into the people that view them and believe in the same beliefs.
That's 100%. I do too. I have the same type of objects, and people don't realize when they talk about affected objects, they always automatically go to the dark side.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And I love the fact that I'm able to go and showcase different artifacts that are positive and that show that there's love, not always, something evil with them. And I think that's what people need to see more of. They need to see more of the positive stuff because I collect so much Victorian stuff, and especially the mourning hair jewelry and some of the funeral bouquets. It's amazing when you start finding that, but you got to think of it like this. It's absolutely beautiful. What else do you got for us? Because I'm honest, Satori, I'm sorry, because it's like, I'm just like I'm telling you, I'm a little kid in the candy store with the stuff that you guys get. I just love seeing it so much.
So the next one that Satori's going to show you, you know about already, but you haven't seen it. So because we got some advice from you, or at least I did. And I filled Satori on what it was. So.
I remember this now. I remember it.
So a woman is, I'll just say, because I don't really want to go into the letter, it's very long right now. But this woman is dealing with financial hardships, and she doesn't really know what to do. She really desperately needs some money. So she was looking at different things to do, and she kind of exhausted all possibilities. And she thought, as a last-ditch effort, she was going to find a monkey paw. It's a long-standing belief that a monkey paw, if you make certain wishes to a monkey paw, to the claws on the monkey paw, it'll grant your wish. So she thought that she was going to do this, and it took her a while, but she finally found a real monkey paw. So she had purchased it and brought it home. When she had done her first wish to the claw on the monkey paw, she went out and bought a scratch ticket, and she actually won a lot of money. She was amazed by this, that it had worked. So she goes to try to cash in this winning ticket. And on the way there, she gets in a horrible car accident and her car is totaled. So she couldn't get to cash in her ticket. She had to go to the hospital. When she gets out of the hospital, she notices that the ticket's actually missing. It's almost like she lost something in the process of gaining something. So she goes home after searching for this ticket. She can't find it anywhere. And she decides that she needs to make another wish to the monkey paw. And if she can get either that ticket back or more money, then she was going to try. So she makes another wish, and the next day she's going through, she's cleaning her sheets, shaking out her pillowcases, taking all the pillowcases off, and the ticket comes out of the pillowcase at home, which makes no sense since she had lost it at the hospital away from home. So she had found the ticket, and she was like, oh my gosh, I can cash this in. It worked. So she calls her mother, and she says, Mom, I got money and a lottery ticket and I need to go cash it in, but my car is totaled. Can you come pick me up? And when she says that she had gotten the money from the ticket, she hears her mom on the other end of the phone scream, oh my God. And then the phone hangs up. So after, it took a while for her to get in touch with her mother again, but when she did, she found out that as soon as she had mentioned that she had gotten this money back, her father, who her mother was looking at while on the phone with, actually had a heart attack right in front of her and had fallen to the ground, and he needed medical attention. So she had done these wishes, and she's noticing every time she's making a wish, she's losing something more important to her. Something really bad is happening, and she's not actually gaining what she wants. So she was terrified that if she made another wish to this monkey paw, that she was going to lose somebody, and her father just barely survived the heart attack he had had. So she had sent us the monkey paw. And she told us, no matter what, even if I ever ask for this back, she signed her name and everything. She said, take this as a proof that I do not want it back, even if I ask for it. Do not give anybody this monkey paw. Put it under glass and don't let anybody make wishes to it. So in this little bone box that was sent to us, Cody, if you want to show that off, maybe you're closer, is the mummified monkey paw right there.
Love it.
Claws on
Love it.
So
That's
whether
gorgeous.
everything that happened to this woman was out of pure coincidence or not, which absolutely could be possible. Psychologically, this helped the woman a lot in the end, whether there was paranormal activity around this or not. But I don't think Satori is going to test it out. So
I'm going to put it in the dark room just to make sure nobody's making wishes to it. You know, that's my thing.
Well, you know, I have one, and it just came to me the same way. It just kind of happenstanced, and I got it. And so I started doing some research on it, thinking, what the heck is this? You know, especially, you know, my hoodoo and voodoo friends. So they're just like, oh my God, what do you have? You know, and it's got a box name, you know, marked from Haiti and everything. So I opened it up, and they're just like, that's bad. That's all bad mojo. You got to just leave that in the box. Don't be handling it. Don't go and wish upon it. And when I started looking at it and I started really getting into it, I realized that it's like a morality lesson, and be careful what you wish for, because you may surely get it. And I always was like, oh my God. So I'm the same way. Mine is in one of my cases that has all my selenite in there, you know, so like everything is neutral. You know, I spray it down with Florida water like once a month just to make sure that everything stays nice and calm. What else do you got for me?
Well, we have a story here, and
Yes.
what happened with this one? This one's a quick one, and then I'll let Satori talk about the one she has here. So, got this nifty little box here, and the first thing was we got this email. Tori, what did the email say when we first got it about this one?
I have my grandfather's eye. Can you please take it? Like, would you be willing to take my grandfather's eye? And we were really confused because we thought, is this a real eye?
That's
what do you mean?
Is it a wet specimen?
Yeah,
I would have been thinking,
like,
yeah.
can you give us more information before we say yes, please?
So, so after we emailed her back, and of course we wanted more information on what she had just sent, she started saying that her grandfather had lost his eye somehow, and I don't remember exactly how, but he had gotten a glass eye, and over the years he had gotten a few different ones, and but it would always go back to this original one. He said that was his favorite eye that he had, and when he passed away, of course, he was declining, and he didn't have the eye in when he passed away, and his kids and grandkids, when they were preparing him for his wake, they wanted to, give him an eye back, and they tried picking out one that they thought was his favorite one, and that's the one he was buried in. Come to find out, after he's buried, activity starts up inside of their house. And they find that this little case that their grandfather had is starting to open up by itself, and things are moving around. And by the time he died, he only had two eyes left. So they only had two options. They had a 50% chance of getting his favorite eye back with him. And they believe that the eye that they gave him at the, at his wake, in his services, was the wrong eye, and which is why Grandpa was coming back and making it known that they gave him the wrong eye for his services. So this really started to freak them out when the case was opening up and the eye was moving around and all different things. So they wanted to send it over to us. And since they've sent it, they said everything has calmed down. Even though they know that it was their grandfather, they were really freaked out by it. They definitely weren't into paranormal activity. So I'll show you what they sent. And let's see if I can get her out here. So here he is. There it is.
I love it. Dude, I love that. You don't understand how much I love that. That is great. I got a story, but we'll talk about off the air because it's a little not fit for like general consumption. But that is amazing. Do you feel that when you get these objects, they sort of calm down because of the atmosphere, because of you guys? I feel that, like with me, they end up here, and a local TV guy came in to film the collection, and he goes, "This is like the orphanage of lost Ouija boards because I have so many Ouija boards here, And he goes, "Doesn't this isn't this stuff like amp up?" I go, "Not at all. I bring it here, and I think it's because we all have a healthy respect for it."
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Absolutely. You're nicknamed an orphanage and we're nicknamed a foster home. So I guess we're on the same level.
It does. It all is respect, though. Nothing negative has happened to us. If there is activity, it's usually maybe they're not happy with each other where they're being set, or maybe it's an anniversary type haunting.
Right.
Things like that. So if there's activity, it's usually explained like that.
Yeah. And we've noticed there's acclimation periods too. We have some objects that when we first got them, they didn't act up. We had one that took like a year and a half to do anything, and the only thing it's ever done is kind of spun around in its case by itself.
Right.
And some objects, I mean, we're always honest. Some haven't done anything since we've had them, but again, we hold on to that story that this happened to somebody, and we're going to tell that story and display the object in that sense. And sometimes when they're on display, other people who are sensitive, they feel things around them, and we always have this little box where if you think you feel something, write it down and put it in the box. And over time, when we collect all different opinions from people, you can kind of build up a case study and see that there has to be something going on, because these people that have no idea who each other is feeling the same things around these items. So yeah,
right. I think that's a great idea. And a lot of people don't realize that when we get these things, we respect them so much. And I love when people ask me, "Well, what goes on down in your basement?" Well, once in a while, I get a little shadow person that kind of peeks around into my office. Once in a great while, I'll get like a couple knockings from, I've got trunks literally jammed full of Ouija boards, and I'll get some knockings or something out there. But that's it. I don't get really anything else. I had a little doll go from one shelf to another, and once I isolated him and put him in a little dome. Listen, I spent $1.25 at the dollar store. Okay. Nothing is too good for my objects, but I put them in there and I haven't had a problem with it since. So, I mean, I really think that the way we look at these things, they react to us because, as you guys know, thoughts, we spiritualists have always been taught thoughts are things. And as a paranormal investigator, you guys know also that things are vibratory in nature. They're frequency. So I really feel that whatever may be attached to these objects, know when somebody's afraid of them, or they're no nonsense, or whatever, and I really think that I always believe that everything has life. Inanimate objects will have life too. And if you listen closely enough, you'll be able to hear their story. I think that's great. The other thing that I love about what you're doing is the fact that you're holding on to the mythology. You know, we here in the intellectual age, we lose that mythology constantly. You know, we just, whatever, let's bulldoze down that church because, what difference does it make? Even though, it was something that may have been important in something that may have happened in past history. So I think that by collecting those little stories, those snippets, you're doing a great service. Now, let me ask you one of the final question that everybody asks me about collections. What the hell are you going to do with it after you're gone? I always say that to Zappis. I saw him when I saw him in the airport. I said, Johnny, I said, have you gone and put me in the will yet? Have you put me in the will yet, Johnny? And he always gets a kick out of it. I have it so that I have a friend that the collection is going to go to. I'd like him to hold it, keep it as long as he possibly can together. And, we'll see what happens, after that. Either that or I'll come back and haunt you. What are you guys going to do with your collection?
I think
I don't know about Tor, but I'm becoming part of the collection.
I wouldn't mind becoming part of my museum. I think that it would definitely be given to somebody that I definitely feel like would do what we would do, trust it the same way instead of just use it as some sideshow act or anything like that. So I would trust somebody, I think.
Yeah, it's difficult. It's tough because the person that gets it, I mean, every object that we've gotten, most of them, except for the ones that just show up on our door unannounced, we've always given the option that you can have the item back. Because
exactly.
Personal things like the rosary beads that
right.
mean something to somebody. Nobody's asked for their items back since, but we always give that option. So it would have to be somebody that would follow through with those, same beliefs, So
all I gotta say is I'm putting it in writing. You guys are getting, if I go before you guys are getting some of the dust. I'm just telling you right now, because I can't think of two better people that I'd like to hang out with for eternity.
There you go.
that would be great. And then I'm just going to go and I'm going to have myself scattered over Zaffis so I could always go and just be a pain in his ass or something. I love that guy. But you know what, guys? I don't want to keep you all night, which I could. I love you guys so much. Tell everybody how they can get a hold of you guys, how they can find out what you guys are doing, and how they can just find out more about the most amazing couple in the paranormal.
Wow. Well, our website is paranormalcouple.com or theparanormalcouple.com, at least at the same place. The museum's Facebook page is where we're most active on. It's the Paranormal Couples Haunted Museum on Facebook and TikTok and all those social media websites. We have a good amount of events coming up. I don't believe the website is up to date currently, but by the end of the week it will be. There's always new events being added. We're going to Pennsylvania this weekend. I believe those two events are sold out already, unfortunately. But I know Dustin was in the comments promoting the event we have coming up in May, I believe, at the New Jersey mine that's out there. And that's always a really active place. We're doing that with Dustin. So there are still tickets through New Jersey Paranormal available. So NewJerseyParanormal.com. And we're going to be at Michigan Paracon this summer.
And keep an eye out because in the summer we are hopefully going to open. We're not going to say where or anything yet. Our first exhibition at a location. So
yes, this is great. And is the Dale confirmed yet? Are you guys confirmed for the Dale?
Yes.
Lilydale people.
Yes.
Lilydale. They're going to be in Lilydale. So you guys all of you guys who are in Western New York, I'll make sure that I'll get the information out to you guys because really you've got to come out there. You've got to meet them. And of course, Lilydale's that special place where, all the spiritualists hang out and, everybody just talks to the dead because we can. And it's going to be wonderful. So I am so stoked about that. That is going to be phenomenal. So guys, I want to thank you so much. Really, from the bottom of my heart, I love you guys. I don't mince words when I say that really you guys have true hearts when it comes to this. You guys are the future of true paranormal experience, true paranormal investigating. And the reason I say that is because you guys have a healthy balance between the metaphysical and the physical. And I love that. You guys really work well together. And I'm telling you, I can't wait. I can't wait till I see you guys. Well, I'll probably see you guys when you're up here and in Michigan, but we'll just make sure in Michigan that none of us look like zombies. That's all.
That's right.
I promise you guys, I won't get on the elevator and like forget where I'm going and end up back on the first floor. And you'll open up and you'll see me. Didn't you go leave an hour ago? I said, I think I did, but I'm not sure. I can't get off the elevator. But anyway, that's another story. Guys, hang on. I want to thank you guys properly, and we'll close out. Thank you so much.
Thanks,
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you.
I love you guys. So
We love you.
Can you believe those guys? They are just phenomenal. Cody DesBiens and Satori Hawes. They're two wonderful people. They are really dedicated to what we do, and it's always an honor to have them on the show. It's even better when you guys get a chance to meet them in person. So, guys, go to the website, meet them in person, just enjoy it. And if you guys have some crazy stuff that you want to get rid of, hint, hint, either send it to them or send it to me. And if you send it to me, I might send it to them, but I don't know. It'll end up one of my cases. Anyway, ciao, babies. You know what? Thank you guys so much for being on here. Next week starts March Victorian Madness. And hopefully, cross your fingers, we'll have Dr. Stoker on. And the whole month of March will be dedicated to spirit photography, to Victorian morning rituals. And, of course, I have the one and only Kim S., who has a podcast called A Good Night for a Murder, all about Victorian murders. So, guys, thank you for being here. Again, I'm Tim Shaw. You've been listening to the Black Cat Lounge here, where the elite meet next to the dumpster transfer station. Ciao, babies. Be good. Take care. Thank you all. Blessings to all of you. Bye-bye.